And welcome back to the Highlander Havoc. We have fifth round on our um, on our way, and once again we'll be seeing Ville Venho piloting his sweet 5-color lands deck, and we have Särkkä with colorless deck. So the polar opposites.
Yes.
And Särkkä's deck is a work of art. Most of the cards are in special printings in foreign languages, so it's a labor of love. Fortunately, we got ourselves his deck list, but we cannot unfortunately share it with you at the moment, but probably can after the tournament is over. But we'll be playing a guessing game with the cards on the table.
Yes. And well, Misrak's Workshop being one of the powerful cards you can play in an artifact deck in this format. Certainly shop's deck, so to speak,
Yes.
with only one shop. So it's not just a shop.
Yeah.
Not shops.
Yes. Just shop. So it seems that players have their opening hands. And well, Särkkä has some cards that I can recognize and some that I don't. Whereas I didn't get a good look from Venho's hand.
Yes.
So, Roope, what's the card?
It was a miss for the first one, but that one I do recognize. And boy do I hate it. Vexing Bauble.
I believe you have said it's the best card in Legacy.
Yes, that is true. While I do hate losing to it, but when you know that whenever someone plays Vexing Bauble, they're up to no good.
Yes, and let's see if Henri is up to no good. Right here. And Venho using his Bloodstained Mire to grab a Underground Sea. Let's see what's the follow-up. Maybe not turn 1 Brainstorm this game.
Maybe. But could be. Let's see after what Ville is going to do after finishing the shuffling. It's gonna be a preordained. Almost like a brainstorm.
Yes, but no. Okay, so 1 top and 1 bottom. And okay, Roope, what's that land?
Oh boy, I have no idea. But it looks like it produces colorless manas. It is gonna be a hangerback walker hitting the battlefield.
Yes. Just a lonely 1/1.
And Ville's lands deck probably doesn't care much about the hangerback walker itself being kind of a slower threat.
Yes.
The bauble is gonna exchange for a card.
That one I know. That's an Ensnaring Bridge. And that's a passing of the turn, so no third land for Särkkä.
So just gonna opt in the end step here. Or I guess it's already the main step, main phase. And it is gonna be a fetch.
So our technical team is trying to filter out all Särkkä's lands so he can bring them to us viewers at home. as well. Okay, so Venho decides to go for Elegant Parlor, get themselves a nice Surveil at the end of the turn and fix their mana, just missing one of the 5 colors. Okay, and now missing none of the 5 colors. And there's a Teferi, Time Raveler, bouncing the Hangerback Walker, and
This
follow-up is going to be
Avasper Boots.
yes, and a Retrofitter Foundry. Both new cards in Vintage Cube, I believe.
Yes,
Yes,
can certainly recognize all of those.
yes. And unfortunately, the Foundry doesn't hit the table, but it is met with Force of Will, I believe.
So one of the lands being Labyrinth of Scophos.
4 mana tap, remove target attacking or blocking creature from combat. Okay. So, kind of a Maze of it.
Yes. Kind of a mess of it, except it does give a mana.
Yes.
Teferi just gonna dig up shortly and pass the turn back. We'll see if Särkkä finds a 3rd land here.
Okay.
Gonna get some new shoes, this Hangerback Walker.
Yes.
Might be more comfortable to walk on them.
Not pressuring Teferi though.
See, it's gonna be just a tap land for Ville's side.
And activation for Särkkä. Maybe Ville has some tricks up. Oh. And that's an up DK. Getting rid of.
Gonna be in response to the activation. Only getting 1 Thopter out of it. And obviously the ward keyword not mattering this time, as abrupt DK is in fact uncounterable.
And there's a what's the serpent called?
Stone Coil Serpent.
Thank you. So it has a protection from multicolored spells or protection from multicolor.
Multicolored.
Yes.
And it has reach and trample, and with the boots it's gonna have haste as well.
So now Särkkä can get rid of Venho's Teferi, and that he will do.
Yeah, kind of a unfortunate set of sequences for Venho, as he took the risk of not getting a card with the Teferi, just choosing to dig up and then the Teferi dying regardless. Would would have certainly been better off with the extra card bouncing the hanger back walker there.
That's
The earlier turn.
that's certainly true. Apparently Venho has got 7 different lands and there's a Field of the Dead on the board as well.
And it is gonna be an army of zombies coming soon. And that is Gamble being cast. Do you like Gamble as a card? Are you a
Well,
fan?
Well, to be honest, no, I'm not a fan. I consider myself a rather unlucky, person. So if I happen to cast it, I probably just get rid of the card that I tutor for. So it's basically a red entomb. Well, maybe in
No, that's-
situations when I don't want it to be an entomb, then it's not an entomb. So I'm a glass half empty guy.
I do like it, especially with it being like a relevant thing, and it does hit out of druids, but
That's
won't-
rough.
that could have been the card that was tutored with the Gamble, I think.
I'd assume as well. So
Especially now that turn has just passed. That is really unfortunate for Ville, but I think that's what makes Gamble a fun card. You never know what's gonna happen.
yes. And well, any ideas?
Nope. It's
um,
some. Is it Everflowing Chalice?
yes, it's Everflowing Chalice. So trying to fix his mana.
Yeah, see, this is easy.
Yes, very easy.
All the cards can be recognized with proper research.
Okay, Venho once again searching his library, going for a tropic scrubland.
Scrubland getting another zombie on the battlefield. So let's see. Scrubland is interesting. Maybe there was no more survey lands to be found.
That could be true. Unfortunately, I haven't got a glimpse of Venho's hand. Okay, and here's the beatdown for 4.
Yes, that zombie is gonna do zombie things.
Okay,
I
there's
believe that's a demonic tutor, and it is. And it is gonna get countered by Warping Veil.
didn't see that one coming.
Yes, turns out even the Colorless deck has counter spells in it.
Also a multifunction
Yes,
counterspell.
popular choice from in the modern decks. And it is
Okay, cracking of land with Glacial Chasm. And making another zombie. Okay, that one I do recognize. It's another Vintage Cube staple.
Yes, Karn, Scion of Ursa, I believe.
Yes.
And it is gonna play some constructed here.
I see what you did there.
And construct being quite the popular token, being seen on multiple rounds already.
Both in Legacy and Highlander this
Yeah.
weekend.
Zombie not so much, although today we have seen the zombies enter the battlefield as well.
And
It's gonna be an attack.
no block from
No,
Särkkä.
no block on the construct does not make much sense to me, I think.
Isn't it a 5/5? So maybe. Okay.
So Deluge is gonna come and suddenly deal 2 more damage not blocking. But Deluge is very strong card.
Also a Vintage Cube staple. That one. That's Karn's something, I believe.
Yeah, obviously the other land being Fountain Port.
Karn's Bastion. I no.
Well, it is just gonna be land and pass from Henri's side.
Somewhat interesting, given that Henri has passed quite a few turns with only playing being stuck on mana, but now I imagine that mana shouldn't be an issue. So what's the okay, the activation of
Fountain Port, or what was there being activated there?
I believe it was Karn's Bastion.
Karn's Bastion,
Yes.
giving a
Proliferate,
counter
yes.
on the chalice. And I have no idea what that card is, but it is upside down.
It's the legendary artifact from Ixalan that draws cards and discards cards and flips to a land. I believe it's some sort of like
Does it
other.
make you coffee as well?
Unfortunately not. Gives mana equal to your life total, I believe, which is quite much.
Cosmos Elixir?
No.
No. It is the...
Azor's Gateway.
Oh, yeah, that's a blast from the past. Have played that one in standard back in the day.
Can we have both the Azor's Gateway and the flip side to the stream?
So basically a Merfolk looter that has some upside.
Yes.
Not a bad card. But the ever-flowing chalice is gonna be ever-flowing 3 mana already. That is
Ugin, the spirit.
Ugin, the spirit dragon. Not the fastest of clocks, but
It's still something.
yes.
Also, Ville is in 9 life total, but
Okay,
well,
that is gonna be the game with Bring the Light getting the scape shift, I would imagine. And scape shift getting Valagut and 6 mountains.
so now we just look for mountains and look for Valakut.
There is the Valagut and now just 4 more mountains to find. There is gonna be those mountains in it.
And just asking, do you want to target Ugin? And no, all copies to the face. And that's game number 1, going to Ville Venho once again. So,
It was certainly a game that took surprisingly long with not that much action, both players flooding a little bit there. But Ville does take it home with an amazing top deck. Bring to Light. The deck did eventually do what it's meant to do.
and there's some key cards from Särkkä's deck. So you can see there's some Modern Horizons staples, like Echoes of Eternity or Forsaken Monument. So I believe Särkkä's deck is more like some sort of colorless aggro or colorless tribal deck. That's
Yes. It is exactly that way. Very cool. Cool deck with apparently there being 2 workshops, the Earth's workshop and the Mishra's workshop.
that's true, yeah. Unfortunately, the Ursus Workshop doesn't power out those artifacts quite as quickly as the Mishra's version does.
Yeah, maybe that's a good thing. Because Mishra's workshop being one of the most powerful lands in the game. And we should be getting our second game soon with the players finishing up shuffling.
And I believe Särkkä will be on the play, given that Venho has the ability to end the game quite quickly. You don't want to give them any extra turns.
Yes, and Henri will be taking a mulligan here. Which is not the worst thing on deck like Henri's deck.
Yeah, Henri has some powerful cards, so it's much better to have them in your opening hands rather than in the deck, especially the Mishra's Workshop. Like Henri could power out some powerful 3-drops right away, or even some 2-drops with it, just like Azor's Gateway.
Yeah, not so powerful. But we will see what Henri is gonna do.
And Ville was quite happy with his opening hand. Unfortunately, didn't get a good glimpse of it. Whereas Särkkä starts with
Lava Spur Boots.
Okay, what's the land?
I don't know. It clears too much, you know.
Yes. It kind of looks some sort of like Ursa land, I believe, like, but there's there's all three of Ursa's Ursatron lands in the deck as well. So maybe it's Ursa's Tower and just a second land and no play for turn 2.
And
Venho opting to fetch
yeah,
for a underground.
sea.
That's interesting.
No survey land this time around.
So is it going to be consider, opt, brainstorm?
Maybe even brainstorm. Something like that. Apparently the card is Ursa's factory, at least one of the lands. But the other one is still a mystery.
Maybe it's Ursa's mine actually, given that it kind of looks like a mine.
Could be. So the spell in question was indeed brainstorm.
Yes, and
The forbidden turn 1 brainstorm again.
yes, unorthodox. I can see that Venho has polluted delta and at least mighty crop rotation in his hand. Basically a demonic tutor.
And blessed zone being played for Henri, which is his answer for things like fast bond, but not sure what is going on Henri's side. Just not playing really anything.
Yes, this is probably not what Henri wants to do against Venho's fast combo deck.
For sure, we will see. Serve and a trigger.
Oh, there's a spell snare.
Game for quite a while on the survey. It does seem to be not good enough fast bond by lacking on the lands.
Okay, and if that's the case, he was rewarded with Tundra. There's just land and pass. Okay. And that's Ursa's tower.
Yes.
Okay. So a mine and a tower. Only missing power plant.
Yes. Ursa lands being played in multiple formats.
Yes, given that even in Legacy nowadays, thanks to the new printing of
Yeah, the Ursa's workshop, I believe. I don't know what that land is. It was being searched for.
that's a wasteland,
Okay.
straight from Fallout.
Yes. I have not played the Fallout games, so not.
Have you watched the series?
No.
Me neither.
Have not the universe beyond that I am familiar with.
Were you familiar with that one?
Mm,
Instead of making some cyan tokens?
yes, I believe that was Cosilex command. But you're not entirely sure what is happening right now. Venho looking through his deck.
Okay, finds a plateau. Going through this Särkkä's deck list, and I'm trying to spot if there's some sort of combos. Well, there's Paradox Engine and Voltaic Key and One Ring, so it also can do some powerful stuff.
Yes.
Okay, and Särkkä has decided to give a counter to his
That is a blast zone.
yes, to his blast zone.
Pithing needle hitting the battlefield. Wonder what they are naming with it.
What would you name in the blind?
I mean, probably.
Not that one.
I should have named that one. It's probably correct if you don't have it yourself, but I don't know.
And
Don't think I won't have named. I don't think I won't have actually put Pithing Needle in my deck if I were.
to be honest,
playing.
it's a quite handy saga, Ursa Saga target.
Yeah, it is.
And well,
Just with my inexperience in the Highlander format, not sure I won't have liked cards like that.
yes.
I will probably just have played the blue-red moon deck, just jamming Blood Moons and
Hoping that
yeah,
your opponent doesn't get to play Magic.
yeah, I know how to fetch a basic land, and that's enough for me. And it is gonna be another fetch land, kind of another slow-paced game on our hands.
Yes, and usually these slow-paced games favor the one having access to or the one controlling the One Ring.
Well, with Teferi is gonna hit the battlefield, and turns out the Pithing Needle has not named either of those targets. It's very difficult to blind name anything in this format.
Yes, maybe it was Suranor in order to shut down the one of the combos, but
Yeah.
that's the. I have no clue what's that that land is. I was thinking if it's the new City of Brass, if you know what I mean. That sees play in standard, but it enters untapped.
Oh, Thran Portal. It's
Yes.
not that one.
Yes. Most certainly it is not.
One Ring gonna draw some cards here.
And Venho losing 2 life from one ring trigger. And if he decides to use the ring on this turn, he'll probably have to discard to hand size.
Yes.
That's
It's not a bad problem to have.
yes. Especially when you're hitting your land drops. When you're stuck on 2 mana and you're discarding to hand size, that's a bad problem.
But there is gonna be a land drop being hit in the form of a swamp.
And Venho having all the mana in the world and all the cards, so making decisions can be quite rough. And Venho decides to go for Oath of Druids. Oh yeah. And
Oath of Druid, another fan favorite from Vintage Cube.
yes,
Really do love that one.
I personally hate it. It's really good against my borrow strategy, so that's why I don't like it. And there's Germ token from, I believe it's Cultra Complete.
And here we have the trigger of the
I mean, it can't be it.
Of
It's
the
probably
Venho.
Butterskull.
yes,
Yes,
it is
yes.
a batters. I wonder if Umra is actually the only target in Venho's deck.
I quite believe so.
So there is a chance if it's in the bottom of your deck that you might just lose unless you have stuff like Memory's Journey.
Yeah.
So that is gonna be a lot of lands getting into the play with the Umra trigger.
Maybe Venho could play even the Baby Lumbra. The 1/3 that has sacrifice ability to bring back all the...
Yeah, I guess it's not an issue because the Valagot does
Deal straight
kill
away.
if
Yeah.
you mill your entire deck. So that is gonna be some lands right there. Not entirely sure what is happening here. Not taking his time thinking.
Now that I've seen Venho play his deck, it kind of gives me a Highlander itch. It has quite a lot of powerful stuff going on and plenty of interesting lines to take with it.
Yeah, it is a cool deck. And just off to buy a tabernacle for yourself.
Fortunately, there's a Kauppias Foppa and his bazaar downstairs, so
Yes. Sponsor of this event.
maybe I'll go and spend all my hard-earned cash for those tabernacles and dual lands.
Yes, certainly. Certainly something you could do. One ring not being used here. Don't exactly. Maybe there's a judge call being. No, there is not. It's just thinking. Definitely does seem to be some confusion.
Okay, and there's a Hangerback Walker, which is met counterspell, and
And I believe
that's the
that's
match.
a concession.
Yes, and well, when you're the one drawing all the cards from one ring, you're the one.
Yeah, and Ville does take it home.
Yes.
And I think we are trying to get a new match. This one did finish 2-0. And yeah, let's go for a short break and get some new action in there.
Yes. See you soon.
Stay tuned.
And welcome back to Highlander Havoc. This time around we don't have a match, but we do have a deck and a interview from Ville Venho.
Yeah. Thank
Ville.
you for having me.
Yes, thank you for coming. So we've seen you in the feature camera for 4 games total. You have lost none of them.
Yeah, that has been kind of today's team. I either lose 2-0 or win 2-0.
Okay.
So it's
So-
interesting.
Must be nice being on the winning side of the things.
Of course, yes.
And we've seen you do some quite powerful things with your deck. And
Yeah.
can you tell us more? Like, what's the like? Yes, the gist of it, or
Yeah.
the ethos of the deck. Like, is it a combo deck? Is it a control deck? Is it a prison deck? Is it a mid-range deck? Or what's the plan?
I think the answer is yes. I started playing first like combo-oriented lands list for almost a year, but it just felt that it was always losing the board quite heavily. So I couldn't kind of catch up enough to have time to do different combos. But then I did try to go like the opposite of that side, so going for mid-range, kind of I will be on the board. But I found out that those 3 mana 2/3s and 4 mana 2/2s ain't that good blockers anymore. So then I did kind of fuse them together, and we have a local player who plays always blue-white control deck, and I lost 8 games in a row to him.
Okay.
And I was like, okay, maybe I would need to join the dark side, and I kind of fused control kind of plan, and I slowly have been all like creeping it up, like how much control pieces, how little kind of win cons I have. I used to have quite a lot. Now it's quite streamlined.
Okay, so it's basically some sort of jack of all trades.
Yeah, it is a kind of like control and kind of combo deck. Control deck with combo finish.
Okay, so we've had you bring up some cards,
Yep.
and you can see here on the screen.
Yeah.
You chose these 4.
Yeah,
And what's the reasoning behind this?
I think the first of all, of course, fast bond is something what is very powerful in our format, and it has been before kind of like hands what you would keep, and you would always play a fast bond, and it enables so many combos on the deck. You can go so fast, kind of get recurring of the lands and kind of do a loops with that. So it's a very key component. But like you saw in the second game, I actually should wait away.
Yes.
Because I didn't need it anymore. And then Lumra was the reason why I put Oath on the deck. It's the only creature over there, and if you get 2 activations with Oath, you always win. If you have Life from the Low in the bin. So it's always kind of guaranteed win. If the first one hits you at least, so you are in 9 mana.
Okay.
And the first time I was on the feature round, I managed to hit 3 cards, and it didn't work. So it is kind of hit or miss, but usually it's quite reliable way to win the game. So it's kind of finisher. And then the Teferi it was like late ad for me for this tournament. I haven't played before, but every time I have played, it has been super good for my deck. It can protect himself. It will push me forward. I have counter spells and removal, so it has been kind of the glue what was needed for this deck.
Okay.
And then Valakut is all that's the most of the games will end for Valakut. Different kind of loops or like shape shifting to Valakut. So it's the finisher of the game. So that's kind of like the base idea, and everything else is kind of built around of card draw, card selection, removal, counter spells, kind of coherent plan.
Okay. Is there like any recursion for Lumra if it hits the graveyard?
No,
okay.
no. Usually it goes once, and because like I need the one trigger, the second one usually Senval's Reclamation goes to the bin, and then I can do my loop over there. So it's just once and trying to shoot it down.
Okay. Do you have anything more to tell us about the deck, or what's the how do you feel about the tournament and upcoming rounds?
Well, I have played lands now for 10-ish years, like different formats. I think it's a very interesting deck to play, and it's hard to interact because most of the lands, like, there's not too much land destruction. So it's good against like tempo and mid-range decks. But I feel I have been getting a bit lucky on the top decks. In some of the games where I felt that I was running out of the gas, I kind of peeled everything top of the deck. So
okay.
there was like some games where I was super like discarded and stuff like that, and I just found everything I needed. So there is a part of luck with the game also. But I feel it's a decent place. Like there is some matchups, combo matchups are those I can't win. Like
okay.
I have the Dark Depths combo. That's the only thing I can do fast. And
how about the boogeyman of the format, Blue Red Control or Blue Moon?
Blue Moon, I have basics and I have a lot of answers for moon effects.
Okay.
I have Assassin's Trophies, I have Decays, I have stuff. So if I can, games ones are hard because I don't know what they are playing.
Yes.
The second and the third game, I know that I need to get those basics and kind of get that going.
Yes.
But I'm hoping I'm not facing them in the next round, but they are coming, I know.
Yes. Thank you for coming,
Yeah,
and
thank you.
good luck for the next rounds.
Thank you.
Yes. And welcome back to Highlander Havoc. This time around we have Henri Särkkä.
The loser.
Yes, the unfortunate loser from last round. You were playing this gorgeous mono-colorless deck, and can you tell us more about this deck of yours?
Yes, it doesn't have any colors.
Okay.
That was kind of the starting point of the deck. Usually, people might know me as someone who likes to play offbeat decks, at least at tournaments. So when I go to tournaments, I go there to play, not to play well.
Okay.
So I'm in for a time. I'm not in for a good time. So this time, I kind of challenged myself to play a mono-colorless deck. We've seen some artifact-based strategies, for example, in the format previously, but usually they play blue and they play white because they have the good cards in those colors.
Makes sense. Yes.
Yeah, that's usually a good strategy to play good cards, but I kind of went to the other direction. So I also noticed that there are some good colorless cards. And colorless pips are something that are kind of notoriously hard to play in Highlander sometimes. I mean, you have a wasteland and that's about it.
Okay.
When you talk about colorless lands. So also the land base was something that kind of intrigued me, so I can play very bad lands, and not the actual bad lands, just bad lands.
Okay.
So I do have like 37 lands, all of them just tap colorless, and then they do something else, except my one basic wastes, which doesn't do anything else.
So it's some sort of like Blood Moon protection, I assume.
Kinda. I lose pretty hard to Price of Progress and back to basics.
Okay.
Actually, I did win one UR tempo today. Mostly because I had foresight of casting Chalice for one, but that does it. And
that's a winning play.
I can take some of these very legacy-like lines as well. Like I won a game just by playing a turn one Vexing Bauble, and then that kind of screwed the other person over.
Yeah, the other commentator said that the Vexing Bauble might be the strongest card in Legacy. So,
yeah.
or whenever it goes to stack, you know the opponent, the player is up to no good.
Exactly.
Yes.
And I think the same thing kind of applies to Highlander as well. I mean, we have a lot of zero mana cards. We have Mox Diamonds, we have Mox Opals, we have Crow Moxes, and then we have the elementals, pitch elementals, and then we have the force of negations and everything.
And the Suranor from opponent's deck.
That's true.
Yes.
So those are kind of the usual suspects, and the way that game went is I played Vexing Bauble, and the other player had a Mox Opal they needed desperately for mana. Later down the game, they had to actually play a Veil of Summer just to resolve the Mox Opal, so that went well for me.
That's great. You have brought up some cards to the screen when we asked you about this deck, and these were the cards you chose. Can you tell us more about?
Sure. So Echoes of Eternity is, I think, one of the kind of colorless enablers. There's three main colorless enablers here that you can look up at home. There's Echoes of Eternity, there's Forsaken Monument, and there's something Cicada. I can't actually remember the name, but it's basically the Cicada is a flash 2/2 that for 3 mana you can play colorless spells with flash, and then whenever you play a colorless spell, it gets +X and trample, where that's the mana cost of the cast spell. So those kind of stuff that you can do, I mean, they're very good effects. Of course, like for a 6 mana colorless enchantment, it should do something neat.
Yes.
It doesn't actually do anything when it comes to play, but it's a deck that can play it. It's an Eldrazi, so I can also pay the Eldrazi Temple partly. And I think that it's a good showcase of what enablers that I don't think are that well explored in the format so far exist out there.
I believe it's pretty strong with the Eldrazi Fleshraker.
That too, yeah.
Yeah.
Like it's basically, it combos with a lot of things. Also, if you just, let's say you cast a One Ring and just copy it, that just gives you an extra card of the original One Ring, and
That's
then you
true.
get the other one. So it has even these very small value type effects when it's actually in play.
That's cool. How about this Hidden Grotto?
Hidden Grotto, Surveillance are great, and they see a lot of play in all Eternal formats, Highlander included. What if I had a Surveillance that came into play untapped with no downsides? I can actually play those in this deck. So I think that's just an example of the kind of janky mana base you can get when you just play colorless lands. Usually when you make a deck and you see all of these, okay, this utility land might be good in my deck, but it taps for colorless and I don't want too many of those, and you're kind of afraid of playing anything except Wasteland. Well, here you just want to slam everything that has something extra on it, and I think that's kind of one of the examples.
Okay. How about Kozilek's Command?
Another card that has taken Modern by storm, and it is as good in Highlander, I think, as it is in Modern. Unfortunately, you can only play one, but it is also secretly a Mystic Forge deck that allows you basically just play the top of your deck. And when you play a Kozilek's Command, first you've spent your early turns just building up mana, and then you're up to like 8 mana, you play it for 6, you find a Mystic Forge, you draw it, you play it, and then you have the rest of your library stacked, so you can just play stuff off of Forge.
That's cool. And we have this timeless classic Mishra's Workshop.
Yep. And originally I was building a mono artifact deck, and of course you play Workshop in those because it is land that taps for 3 mana, it stays in play. It doesn't pay for everything, like it doesn't pay for the spells you can see here, but that's fine because I play a lot of different mana stones, from Mind Stone to Thran Dynamo to all of the olden but golden mana stones.
And that gorgeous Everflowing Chalice as well.
Not the original art, though. I saw some people dissing the new arts yesterday in Legacy stream, but you noticed that I'm a fan of the weird arts. And I think Mishra's Workshop, the best it can get is when you can actually negate the downside of only casting artifacts. So instead of casting artifacts, you play Mana Rocks, and that kind of allows you to wash the mana, so you can spend it for other stuff as well.
Yes, that's cool. Thanks for coming. Hope the Lady Luck treats you well in the future rounds.
Sure, hope so. Has done so far. That's why I'm at least 3-2.
Okay, and thanks for coming.
Thank you.
See you soon. Stay tuned.